We are big fan of Rwanda as a country, as Volkswagen. So we really love being there. Reason being is not the size of the market. I would say reason being is that Rwanda provides a very good environment, I think, for innovation. And that does not only talk to innovation in the automotive industry, but in general, when you see kind of where the policy or politics is going in Rwanda. So Rwanda was for us the first country where we piloted our mobility solutions. So we offer a ride-hailing, a car sharing, and an airport and hotel service. We started that in 2018 as our own subsidiary. And it's profitable now after 4 years, out of which 2 have been COVID, which is not the ideal time for ride-hailing and car sharing, we have to say. So we're very proud of that this worked out in Rwanda, and we're going to scale it now. We're going to increase the size of the fleet in Rwanda, but also now try to adopt this concept for other African metropolitan areas. So that's kind of, it's always good to start something in Rwanda and see whether it works. Also, Rwanda has been our first country in Africa where we had electric cars, or still have electric cars, the e-Golfs. So now next step in Rwanda would be, because there is a policy for electric vehicles, it will increase our fleet and bring new models like the ID models to our fleet in Rwanda. And mainly the strategy for the Rwandan market for us is to showcase and test projects in Africa, and of course continue in Rwanda, as we will do with the GenFarm project now, which is an ecosystem for sustainable environmental farming with e-tractors, with solar panels, with scooters, with an innovation hub, let's say. So this is the next thing, with huge support from the government in terms of giving us the land, which we're going to kind of pilot now in Rwanda to see whether it works, and then scale in Rwanda or in Africa. So very great environment to test and then scale things. The tender for the airport projects is coming, as we were informed, beginning of 2024, and definitely we as Volkswagen will tender, because we love that whole concept, and idea is really to provide different stages of mobility, be it scooters, be it buses, be it passenger cars, and to provide these services from an airport to the city, to the hotels, and entirely electric. So it should be powered by solar energy. It should be including chargers and energy storage solutions, plus the entire range of electric mobility. And we think as Volkswagen we've got a huge variety of that to offer, together with other partners within the Volkswagen Group, be it probably MAN for the buses, so that we are very keen in kind of also taking part in the next step of electrification in Rwanda. We would really love to continue with the Terramond in Rwanda. Unfortunately, the current fuel quality doesn't allow us to introduce so that the Terramond got a facelift, or got an uplift in the product, and with that comes new engine technology with a higher emission standard. And Rwanda, unfortunately, still has the Euro 3 emission standard. So we tried to test it, but we had failures, piston failures mainly. In the engine, so we stopped. We had to stop that test, and have really to lobby for a better fuel quality in Rwanda, not only for the Terramond but for other models to come, and also for CO2 to be reduced and NOx to be reduced, whilst the country transitions into electric mobility then fully. Those who bought it back then, that was the previous Terramond. They had the engine worked properly. So we never go into a country with an engine which doesn't work. So the current or the previous Terramond worked fine in Rwanda. We just unfortunately can't introduce the new generation of Terramond. So I had the opportunity to meet His Excellency President Kagame 2 weeks ago. And amongst others, I also had the opportunity to raise the issue of the fuel quality, and he was very supportive, or in terms of we need to change this, because it's also in the interest of the country. So I felt strong support from the president in terms of moving to another emission standard, to a better emission standard, to allow us and others to bring more but also better vehicles. So we would love to introduce something like a Polo again soon in Kigali, as soon as possible. So we're looking into a nice Brazilian product, or designed in Brazil and also coming from Brazil, which is called Polo Track. It's only been launched recently in Brazil, and this is something which hopefully in something like a year's time would be then the new launch in Rwanda, most likely. But in between, there's also the new Amarok coming, of course. So it's Virtus launched now, then Amarok at the back end, new Amarok at the back end of the year on the commercial side, and then next one to look into for us is the Polo Track. So I really, and with the GenFarm, we kicked off the next innovation project, and I hope and think there is more to come with Rwanda. I think Rwanda has found a very nice space as being the innovation driver in automotive in Africa already, and I hope we can strengthen that relationship, and we want to contribute also to that role. In this meeting with His Excellency President Kagame, we also discussed the role about raw materials in Africa, which become even more important with electric vehicles once we start manufacturing electric vehicles in Africa. So I see a huge opportunity for Rwanda, but also for other African countries in terms of not only mining raw materials, but also getting industry to process the raw materials to specifically enable battery manufacturing probably by the end of this decade or mid of next decade. So I think that the way Rwanda does it currently, because it is a small country, so it's it will never get to a really scale and huge automotive industry in terms of 8 different brands are coming to manufacture there. But the way it is done now, with now increasing, for example, our fleet and mobility solutions, we will create new jobs for more drivers in the mobility fleet. If GenFarm works as an ecosystem, will create jobs, but also opportunities in rural communities. So that way, in sparking innovation together, and then also look into how can we scale it in Africa. I think it's great, and focus also on the capabilities. I'm a big fan of the Norscan campus, so I've been there now twice. So looking into becoming a startup hub for Africa, providing African solutions. So this kind of brain power, software engineering. So this kind of not necessarily industrial manufacturing. I think that's a very smart move Rwanda has done already, and I think can capitalize in the future.